Hello students, I hope you are doing well. Today I want to do a lesson in modals, but first allow me to tell you a brief story about when I was a student, which was long time ago. One day I was late for class. Before I entered the classroom, I asked the teacher, "Can I come in?" The teacher responded, "No, you may not." Not a happy teacher. So I asked why. The teacher said, "You should know classroom rules by now. One rule is that you must be in your seat when the school bell rings." I felt bad and said, "I will be on time next class, teacher. I promise." But the teacher said, "Today you will stand in the hall for 30 minutes as punishment." Well, I was not a happy student that day, but I learned my lesson. So let me ask you this. Do you know important classroom rules? I hope you do. You should. Well, let's do a small group activity. In your groups, you will make 3 different types of rules using some modals and related expressions. Here are the types. Rule type 1, things you have to do. Rule type 2, things you cannot do. Rule type 3, things you can do if you want. When you discuss in your group, first brainstorm some ideas before you write. However, take notes and write them down in your notebook. After you brainstorm, make a poster and present your ideas to the class. Each group will have 15 to 20 minutes to brainstorm and discuss. So spend about 5 minutes doing step 1. Then write down ideas in your notebook. Write down your own ideas. Write down your classmates' ideas. Then you will create a simple classroom rules poster. Use the simple sentences with the modals on your handout. Now, one thing I want to say is that make sure you fill in the blanks with the verbs. Verbs usually come right after the modal in their basic form. Any questions before you begin? I will check each group and assist if necessary. You may begin. Now I will ask each group to present. Who would like to start first? Okay, let's start with group 1. Here are some rules presented by group 1. Some really good rules here. Students have to study English hard. I like number 2. I also like number 3. Students have to speak English. Students must submit their homework. Students need to speak more actively. Number 8. And the last one, students must wear proper clothes, no pajamas. Well, I haven't seen a student wearing pajamas in the classroom yet. Also, remember not to be a bad student like me. You must come to class on time. So we can say that these modals and related expressions are used to show an obligation. No choice. You must do it. Here are some rules presented by Group 2. So again, some great rules. Number 2 says students can't use smartphones in class. Number 3 says students must not use Japanese. I like that. Number 6 says students can't sleep. I hope not. And number 8, I like this one. Students shouldn't be absent from class, exception for illness or family emergencies. Very good rules. She shouldn't sleep in class. These modals are used as obligations, but the sentences are negative statements. Here are some rules presented by Group 3. Things you can do if you want. So number 1 says students can use an iPad for this class. Okay, we'll talk about that. Students can drink water or tea. Yes, I think that's okay. And number 3 says students can go to the bathroom. If you need to go to the bathroom, please tell your teacher or your partner during breakout room activities. Also, let's see. I like number 5. Students can ask for advice. And 6, students can help each other in Japanese sometimes, but not all the time. And I love this. Remember, try easy English first, then help each other. And I think number 7 is very important. Students can make mistakes. We learn from our mistakes. I always learn from my mistakes. These modals and related expressions show what is okay or possible. And yes, please don't be afraid to make mistakes. I always make mistakes, and I always learn from them. We learn from making mistakes, students. Now, I want to make a comment on using tech in the classroom. Now, one group said students can use an iPad for this class, and I understand why. And another group said students can't use smartphones in class, and I understand why. So let's make a rule about using smartphones in the classroom. Students must not use smartphones during tests. Well, that's obvious, right? We should all know that already, I hope. But students can use smartphones if they have a dictionary app or if the activity involves using a smartphone. So, for example, I may ask you to look up some information. So we live in a world of tech today, and I personally think it is important to use tech tools to improve our learning to do various jobs. Any questions so far? All right, we'll continue. We will explore this topic while we learn important modals and related expressions in English. So our topic of the week is high-tech world, something we are all familiar with, something we all know, right? Everyone I know uses a mobile device. Even I use it. But one thing we always must do is to create safe passwords to protect our information. Question: do you think creating passwords is a pain or very difficult and a lot of hassle? We want to create passwords that are easy to remember but difficult for criminals who want to steal our information, right? Well, here is something interesting. It is from your textbook. It says, updating your password. Update your thinking first. Before we look at this text, let's do a quick discussion.